Hello, I'm Jake and this is Rave Vinyl Reminiscence, the channel where I share my passion for hardcore from around 91 to 95 and bring together this community of lovely people. Now for this episode it's time to return to a single record label, partly because we've moved away from that theme for a couple of videos now, but also because I've been specifically asked about a particular tune that featured briefly in the previous episode. The label we're going to focus on for this video has a very cool, serious, sophisticated feel, I think. It's a label that, like some of the other tracks we've looked at lately, very closely surf the line between hardcore and drum and bass. It's a label that pressed some very important, significant tunes for the hardcore archives. Join me while we take a short journey on my favourite tunes on Legend Records. So welcome back everyone, once again for another look at an arse-kicking record label. Now as I said in the intro, a few people inquired about a tune that featured in the last episode. It was the one that slowly wound down to a stop to set the scene and make the way for the next DJ. So I thought those inquiries were a great excuse to make an episode on Legend Records. Now some of you will already know what that tune was. Many of you in the comments recognised at least what the record label was. Now I realised today, strangely enough, despite the absolutely hopeless capacity in my memory these days, that I can actually remember buying that specific tune. So I remember walking in the shop, being in Slamming Vinyl Records in Kingston and actually laying that particular track down, listening to it for the first time, you know, unlike the row of Technics 1200s there used to be in the record shops. I have no idea why, because I can't remember most of the tunes that I bought. That was awesome, wasn't it, going back then, just like getting on the bus with what little money you had, heading off into Kingston and go in there, open up the door of the record shop and get hit by that music straight away, meeting mates in there, other DJs, just stand there for hours listening to tunes and heading off home with your new purchases in your carrier bag, like can't wait to get home and stick them straight on the decks and playing as loud as you can till your old man shouts up the stairs like, turn that crap down! Good times, man. Them record shops were special places thinking back now. Right, so let's get on with some music. As always, I want to give you a little bit of background around this record label. So Legend Records was set up in 1993 by Simon Matthews, otherwise known as DJ Gwange, Jason Greenhalgh, known as Q Project, and Paul Smith, aka Spinback. We're going to listen to tracks from all three of these artists in this video. There's a pretty big list of releases for this label on Discogs, many of which are remixes and loads that extend beyond 1995, which is when I stopped buying hardcore for a couple of decades at least. Now I'm going to share a small selection of releases with you in this episode, just the ones that I bought over the years that are my personal favourites from this label. So, we'll be journeying through a total of just 8 tracks on 4 different releases, all from 1993 and 1994. So let's crack on and kick straight off with that release that I've been going on about. And it is, from 1993, Simon Bassline Smith's Mind Over Matter. Now the tune that I bought this for is on the B-side and it's called Mine. And I remember, as I say, going into this record shop and listening for the first time and just thinking the drum sequencing just seems so kind of relentless and different and fresh. Now it's odd because I featured this in the last video, which was all around tunes that are great to start a set off with, and yet I didn't use it for that. It's actually, we listened to the beginning, not a bad one to do that with. About halfway through this track is this section that I absolutely love. It's got this kind of wavy, tidal kind of synth sound to it. And as that's washing in and out, the energy just gradually picks up on this until it launches off again on that kind of like pure inertia of a drum sequence. The drum on this track is awesome, man. It's just like stab like it's never going to let up. Now listen to this last clip I've done, and it's just thinking of this from a DJ's perspective. It takes one little breath and then it plows straight on again, and for the whole rest of the track we have this constant, clean, beautiful drum section which is just perfect to mix out of. That's a proper kosh, that is, for the dance floor. While I've got this in hand, I'm going to mention the other side, which is Distinction. It's not a tune that I've played much. Well, I don't think I played it ever, actually, to be honest. It's not entirely my cup of tea, but there is this one little section in it that I quite like. So while we're on it, I'll play it. That track will definitely appeal to plenty of people out there, but like I say, it just doesn't quite hit for me. Okay, moving on next, still with 1993, and we have Spinback and Windmill's In Effect and Divine Inspiration. Now, my copy of this that I've got now is on Modern Urban Jazz, and Discogs have this down as 2018, but I can see actually written on the label here quite clearly it says 2017, so I'm guessing that's when it was. Both sides of this are dirty, cheeky little numbers. I'm going to start with Spinback's In Effect. This has such a powerful entrance. I love the way the tune hangs back now with this vocal, and there's like this anticipation, and then all of a sudden just a gunshot and it's off. So then we have this really moody section which gradually picks itself up out of the pit of darkness and just builds slowly in energy. And then about 3/4 of the way into this tune, we've got this part that's so tasty. It does like this kind of backwards rewind bar, and then it literally just shifts in energy, a total switch in drum pattern. So on the flip side of this, we have got Windmill's Divine Inspiration, another quality tune. Has a slightly unusual sample in it, which reminds me of like the thing that I always wanted to do as a kid with like doing the water drops, like. In the middle of the track, we've got this lovely eerie section, and it's kind of like staring across the Amazon, and it does this periodic rewind sample, and then as the drum kicks off, it's really interesting the way it's kind of staggered. So it does kind of like a forward march and then pulls it back in the rewind, forward march, pulls it back again. I want to play this last section, not just because the old water torture sound effect comes back in, but because it has this really beautiful like rotating cabinet kind of effect, as if it's kind of circling around you in the room. Okay, moving on swiftly, we come to a very important rave artifact. And this is 1993 still, and this is Return of Q Project, and this is the Alliance remixes. Both sides of this are sublime and absolute classics. Alliance, by the way, was Jason, Paul and Simon, who owned the label. And this release was mixed by Ron Wells, aka Jack Smooth. So I'm going to start with the Alliance remix of Champion Sound. Now some tunes just don't need much of an introduction, and this is one of them. Total sound of an era, this is colossal. And here's those famous vocals, I can hear it now, blasting out from the pirate radio station, the MC calling out shouts to people who are ringing him up on his Nokia. And then we've got this piercing, echoey sample that just kind of hangs out there. And it's broken only with that sound that you never want to hear in real life. The needle dragging across the record, really effective here though, and then it kicks off. Now, much as I love the Champion sound tune, of course, the other side is Night Moves. And this tune, I love the way it starts off really steady. So as you're mixing it in, it's really kind of steady and simple. And then it does this rewind and the power. Now, if that wasn't juicy enough, it does another rewind a bit further on and then it just soars, it just flies. This tune is so dynamic. So after the wondrous soaring power that's brought us to this point, it rewinds again and then drops down to almost silence with just these bass pulses. And then it opens up into like this exploration journey through an enchanted rainforest. And then the energy picks back up. Freaking superb bit of vinyl that is. So that takes us to our last release now, and this is 1994, and this is something a little bit special actually. Not the easiest to get these days, not the cheapest. This is DJ Gwange, and the two tracks on here are Motionless and Adrenaline. Beautiful release, both sides of this. Sophisticated, very, very mature sounding. There's a real odd, how do I describe it really? An odd juxtaposition with it where you've got like belt-in hardcore in some ways and at the same time ambience and kind of chill. It's a very, very strange mixture that works really, really beautifully on this. I'm going to take us through Adrenaline and then I'm going to have Motionless as our play-out track at the end. So let's have a listen to a few sections. Adrenaline, straight out the gate. Now listen to this. I can only explain this as like totally ordered chaos. It's hectic as hell, but it's completely defined and it layers upon the complexity to it's immense, but the power it builds into. Contrasting that, the tune then opens up into this, it's like a gaze across the whole of Mother Nature. I just want to play this last section, okay, because this has often been mixed out. It's right towards the back end of the track. Just listen to the precise complexity of it. So that brings us almost to the end of our little journey through my favourites from Legend Records. Of course it leaves just one tune, and I have left the best till last. And that is Motionless on this same release. An incredible, beautiful work of art of a tune. It's rich, complex, beautiful. I'll draw your attention to the middle breakdown in this, where it comes right down and it's just soaring. And the build up is so slow and amazing. And then there's this bit in it that I just adore. It's got this female vocal that just at the last moment kicks in with a little and then have a listen, you'll know when it happens. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. I cherish this release. Thank you very, very much again for coming on this journey with me. It's been an absolute pleasure taking you through these tunes. Look after yourselves out there, and I will catch up with you very, very soon for the next episode.